Hey, what's up, soul friend? Today we are going on a journey and stepping into the wonderful, whimsical world of the artist way. This has been a dream of mine for so long to go into, but I have in a lot of ways been afraid. If you don't know, The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron is deemed like the quintessential handbook or creative Bible for artists across the world. And there are so many people who have attributed their ability to really express their artistry authentically and get unblocked by doing the Artist's Way, which is a 12-week curriculum. We're going to be doing 13 weeks. This week is week 0, and we're getting into the basic principles and tools. And I also just wanted to give you a little bit more context into like why I'm doing this and why now. So I purchased The Artist's Way on Amazon.com on August 12th, 2022. And I got through the introduction and never opened up the book again. It was always this thing that haunted me. I mean, there's many times I've purchased books and not fully read them, but this particular book has been kind of just gnawing at my soul for a long time. I have always felt a huge amount of resistance to doing the Artist's Way, and for the longest time, I just thought the resistance was to the work and knowing that it was a huge commitment of 12 weeks and that there's a lot of active action and execution involved. And so maybe I attributed to my laziness or my lack of discipline in wanting to like commit. But this time it feels different because this time my intuition is telling me that I'm scared, not because of what's ahead of me, but I'm scared, what if I get unblocked? What I'm afraid of most is succeeding. There is this part of me that knows if I go on this journey that there's no turning back, and that the version of me that's going to come out of the other side is powerful and clear, and I'm afraid of that. I'm afraid of the voltage of that, and I'm afraid to hold that. And that's just me being vulnerable and honest. So I'm not afraid of failing at it anymore. I'm afraid of who I become when I succeed. I particularly always keep thinking about Dochi because Dochi famously documented in a very raw, real way on YouTube her Artist's Way experience. And this was like not even that long ago, maybe 5 years ago during the pandemic. And 5 years later, she is a Grammy Award winning artist and just has completely like expanded her artistry in ways that she didn't even probably imagine. And it's really inspired me to do it. So who knows? Maybe she's gonna be getting a Grammy. No. I don't think that's what's in store for me. But it just is such a clear, intuitive ping in my heart, in my whole body, that this is gonna tap into something that I'm afraid of. It's gonna hit a nerve. And sometimes we gotta hit a fucking nerve to get past these blocks that we don't even see. And for me, this is the journey I need to go on. And I just know that so clearly in my bones. And I'm gonna be taking you along with me and documenting the entire experience. And again, this week we are focusing on just laying the foundations. I read the intro again, the basic principles and the tools, and we're setting an intention. So let's get into it. The first thing that really surprised me in the intro was how much Julia Cameron talks about God in a creative handbook, but I'm also not surprised at all. So if you are someone who just has a certain reaction or a trigger to the word God and it rubs you the wrong way in any capacity, really don't allow that to hinder you from experiencing this book. But for me, I am in a place right now where I'm like, yes, God, yes, universe, yes, source, like, let's fucking go. Julia Cameron writes, those who speak in spiritual terms routinely refer to God as the creator, but seldom see creator as the literal term for artist. I am suggesting you take the term creator quite literally. You are seeking to forge a creative alliance, artist to artist, with the great creator. Accepting this concept can greatly expand your creative possibilities. I absolutely loved this statement so much, and it immediately triggered this clip that I've seen for many years of Kanye West. Here's a clip that just is perfect.
Stop doing things only based in fear. Like, the universe will assist you when you are acting in love. I tweeted this thing where I said, when you're acting in love, you're like a drop of water and you have the ocean as your army. When you act in fear, it's just you and your money.
Julia Cameron also writes, we change and the universe furthers and expands that change. She also talks about a note that she keeps right by her desk, and it says one of my favorite things. The quote is, leap and the net will appear. This is something that just resonates so deeply. As an entrepreneur and as a creative, many of the times what hinders us is that we desperately try to build a safety net for ourselves, and we want to take these bold steps. We want to take a leap of faith, but we wait and look down, and we wait until we think there's going to be a net appear to hold us. Because who wants to die? Who wants to jump and like look down and see nothing? But this really asks for faith. Just close your eyes and fully surrender to the experience and jump, leap. The net will come. So many of us are so creatively blocked because we are so attached to the safety of that net. And we have to have faith. There has to be trust, not just in yourself, but in God, in the universe, that the net will appear. One of the reasons I think that the artist way is so popular and so beloved globally is because it solves a human problem, this feeling of being stuck. But that feeling is really just coming from our mind. It's being projected from our own understanding of ourself. And it not only unpacks what's happening in your mindscape, this book is actually giving you actionable tools to help act and take action. So it's not just a philosophy, it's really about execution and taking steps to getting unstuck. Julia writes, many of us sense we are more creative but unable to effectively tap that creativity. Our dreams elude us. Our lives feel somehow flat. Often we have great ideas, wonderful dreams, but we are unable to actualize them for ourselves. Ooh, it is like she is cutting you open and reading what is etched into your heart. It is such a true and human feeling as an artist to feel this. Something that was also really interesting about the intro is that she does not shy away from the fact that this experience of doing the artist's way will be painful. She talks about it time and time again and just gives fair warning up front that this experience will bring shit up and bring up a lot of hurt and a lot of pain because you're looking at yourself in a very honest way. She quotes Robert Bly, who calls this the descent into the ashes. I love this quote so much because the immediate visual trigger I get when I hear descent into the ashes is a phoenix. And what does a phoenix do but rise from the ashes as well? Julia writes, "We begin to excavate our buried dreams. This is a tricky process. Some of our dreams are very volatile, and the mere act of brushing them off sends an enormous surge of energy bolting through our denial system. Such grief, such loss, such pain. We mourn the self we abandoned." This is exactly what I was talking about in terms of when you are facing yourself in a very vulnerable, authentic way. And healing just in general is just not a beautiful, glamorous process. It is ugly and dirty, and the poison has to rise and has to come out of the wound before you treat it, before you heal it. So that's something that, I just think of that visual so clearly of that pain and all the beliefs and the grief that's going to come up is like the venom coming out of that block so that you can actually close it. One of the questions that's brought up in the intro is, how can you tell you're creatively blocked? For me, one of the ways, and one way that she talks about, is jealousy. If you hear yourself saying things like, "I can do that," you are probably creatively blocked. Or if you see someone doing their thing, creating their art, and being like, "Oh, I don't understand why this person is famous, or known for this work. This doesn't even look that interesting or that impressive. I can definitely do that." Whether or not you say that out loud is irrelevant, but those types of thoughts and seeds that we plant in our mind are definitely ways that we can tell that we're blocked. And what I love about this is that it gives jealousy such a powerful job. If you're feeling jealous or envious of someone who is creating, it is just an arrowhead telling you that you want to be creating. Now let's get into the tools. This section of the intro is called the basic tools, and the first one is the most famous of them all. You've probably heard of it, but it is the morning pages. So what are the morning pages? The morning pages are the primary tool of creative recovery. All that anger, whiny, petty stuff that you write down in the morning stands between you and your creativity. Worrying about the job, the laundry, the funny knock in the car, the weird look in your lover's eye. This stuff eddies through our subconscious and muddies our days. Get it on the page. Morning pages are quite simply 3 pages of long-handed writing. You get up in the morning and the first thing you do is get to your journal and your notebook and just get everything out. It's pretty much draining your brain and draining your thoughts so that you have created spaciousness in your mind and in your heart to get to the work that you want to actually be doing. That's the intention around the morning pages. Something that is a little bit different about morning pages for me is I have done morning pages for many, many years and never in a very consistent way, but I used to be a big journaler, and a problem I kept running into with morning pages was somehow, no matter what I did, it would always turn into a to-do list or an idea or a lesson or a learning that I wanted to convert into content. And so this time around, I am doing an adapted version of Morning Pages, which is going to be doing 3 minutes of brain draining, but vocally on my voice notes app. I think this is going to be really powerful for me because one of my intentions this year is to really own my voice and to express my voice as freely and with zero censorship. And this adapting it from writing to recording is a really intentional way that I'm going to do that. And I think also something that I will just find a lot more joy in doing consistently. Some people might say that's not Morning Pages. That doesn't count. But I don't care because it is my experience and I am doing it in a way that is going to make sense and align with how it feels right for me. And so if you want to do Morning Pages traditionally, you do you, and keep me posted. Another thing I absolutely love is your mood does not matter. The importance of the practice is 0% dependent on the outcome. The practice itself is where you get the results and the transformation. It is the consistency and showing up day in and day out that matters. So it does not matter if you feel good or you feel like crap. Get your Morning Pages done. The second basic tool is called the artist date. This is less popular than the Morning Pages, but again, still very, very much iconic. And the artist date is quite simply a solo weekly 2-hour minimum block of time nourishing your inner artist. And Julia stresses that this does not mean that you have to wine and dine yourself, which if that is aligned with your bank account, have at it. But it's not about spending money on yourself, but it's about creating this sacred block of time for you to really play and be your most creative self. So why do both of these practices matter in tandem? Julia says, think of this combination of tools in terms of radio receiver and transmitter. It is a two-step, two-directional process, out and then in. Doing your Morning Pages, you are sending, notifying yourself and the universe of your dreams, dissatisfactions, hopes, and doing your artist date, you are receiving, opening yourself to insight, inspiration, guidance. This is such a beautiful way to see the duality of these basic tools. So the Morning Pages is really about what's going out and creating that spaciousness in your creative space so that you can bring in inspiration and ideas and all that juiciness that you want from the artist state. It is such a perfect example. The next thing she talks about is filling the well. Any extended period or piece of work draws heavily on our artistic well. Overtapping the well, like overfishing the pond, leaves us with diminished resources. Our work dries up and we wonder why, just when it was going so well. The truth is that work can dry up because it is going well. This is something I think most of us can definitely relate with. I definitely can, and I have felt tapped out and burnt out so many times, and I don't think that's natural. I think when we are creating from a real honest place, that you shouldn't ever feel blocked, because when you're creating from a place of truth, your well will always be well stocked and full. All right, friends. All right, so we got through the intro, the principles, the basic tools. The contract is signed. There's an actual contract in the book that you sign, and I signed it on August 12th, 2022, and I just signed it now and crossed off the old date because I didn't actually do it back then, but this time is different. Next week, chapter 1. I'll see you on the other side.